Thanks a lot for coming in.
Good morning, happy to be here.
Something about this community appeals to you?
This is a wonderful place to live.
For Kelowna Now, this is Camp Mulgat.
And we're joined by Shona Harrison, the founder of Old Kelowna. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I love this. I just love Old Kelowna. I just want to get that out there right at the beginning.
Awesome. Thank you.
We've done a few of these items called Kelowna Now and Then, and we need pictures of a certain thing, and we go to Old Kelowna, and there they are.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's take this back to the beginning. Whatever gave you the idea to start this up? This was in 2014? What was going on?
I was, at that point, I was just starting on the Heritage Society, and there was a lot of discussion about demolition of the train center.
Right.
And I was really moved because my grandma, I have a picture of her. She passed away when I was in grade 10, but there's a picture of her as a child standing in front of the train station. And it's one of my very, very favorite photos of her. And so in my personal protest to the possibility of this building coming down, I posted that picture on my personal Facebook page, and it just lit up. I had so many people commenting on, oh my gosh, is that the train station? And yeah, it's your grandma, and like that kind of thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's kind of an appetite here for our history, and perhaps a bit of a disjunct from where we were to where we are today.
Right.
And so I just started Old Kelowna on Facebook and posted that very same picture. That was the first picture that went up of my grandma, and it just blossomed.
Okay, so you called it Old Kelowna, put that picture out, and then people started saying, oh, here's one, and here's another.
Exactly. Yeah, well, in the description it says that it's a repository and a collection for photographs. It's a kind of a collective memory, if you will, of Kelowna. And so people just flew with it, and we just started getting, at that point it was just me, started getting so many photographs, amazing photographs that are not in the museum, right? These are more personal, these are
that's what I was going to say.
photographs.
We have a museum to capture important bits of history, but there is a curation process so that not everything gets in it. This is just wide open.
Well, so when they're submitted, they go through, Doug and I, we screen them, and then we kind of try to catalog them and put them in particular kind of an order and sort of an organization, and then we put them up with acknowledgement of the individual.
We can't just leave that hanging. Doug.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Doug's last
Doug
name?
Cook.
Doug Cook.
Oh dear! More coffee. Yeah, Doug Cook.
And so it's just the two of you that do all of this.
Yeah, so it was so serendipitous how we met. He was posting photographs on his page. I went to high school with his sister, like really, really strange, kind of distant.
Right.
And I asked him, I'm like, wow, you've done a lot of work with this. Would you be interested in being part of this, this page with me? And he said, absolutely.
Okay.
And I've actually, we've won all the awards. I've never met him in person.
Okay.
We've done interviews where like split site interviews and so forth. He lives in the Lower Mainland. And so we work collaboratively together.
He's working in the Lower Mainland and helping run Old Kelowna.
Yeah, this is where he was born and raised.
Okay, so he has that connection.
Yes.
And we should maybe back up a little bit to help explain why you do have such a love of history, and maybe it's just innate, but you also studied it. You had a PhD in medieval literature.
Yes, medieval literatures. Yeah, I studied at the University of York, where I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the British Library and work with the medieval manuscripts. So,
Right. These are these old things you were saying that are written on vellum, which is like sheepskin.
yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. During times of plague and so forth, they used absolutely everything from the animal. There was no waste, and so they would use the skin then for these very, very expensive medieval manuscripts, and they would stretch the skin and tan them and
Right.
cure them, and then they were handwritten by medieval scribes.
Okay, so back to the Old Kelowna page. What's it like when somebody sends you something and you open it up? Is it like, are there moments that are just like, wow, we got a great one?
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel kind of like it's like a gift, like Christmas.
Right.
Yeah. We've had some beautiful, beautiful photographs sent in. Some of my favorites are the black and whites. That we just had one actually that came in of a horse-drawn carriage from actually in Penticton. Someone sent it up from there, and it was from early 1900s, and it's a horse-drawn carriage. So it just looks so peaceful and serene. It has a horse.
Yeah.
My other love. So we get these amazing, amazing photos, and the response to them, right? Just how they resonate with people.
Yeah. No, and it's so great to have it, and the growth of it has been pretty amazing. You're up to, I think it was when I was trying to rope you in for an interview, you were at 25,000, and now it's at 27, just about?
Yeah, just about 27,000 followers.
It continues to grow, the number. So does it ever get to a point where it's too big for you to manage, or not so far?
Not so far, because we just kind of, we have a system when the photographs are sent in. The ones that the Christmas gifts, if you will,
Yeah.
that are just amazing. Those we tend to post right away. The others that perhaps it's a different view of the lake that we've seen before is comparable. We'll file it in and then show it later. So we have this huge repository of all of these photographs, right? So we can just keep drawing from that and
Right.
posting.
And you put them into albums, so there's a bit of organization to it.
A bit.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes I do find it's a little bit like a pile of photos. I hate to suggest you should work even more, but it would be nice if you could just type in any subject
Yep.
and there it would magically be.
Absolutely.
Maybe in the future there'll be some, artificial intelligence way of managing photos or something that'll do all that work for you.
Yeah, we'd love that, but at this point we're both volunteers.
Yeah.
So it's a big endeavor.
One
So-
thing I'll say is, though, if I'm looking for a certain photo on your site, as I'm sifting through all the other ones, it's such a good time.
Absolutely, right?
So you've won some awards. You can go ahead and boast a little bit here. We do that on this program. So what have you managed to win?
I guess since it was the inception 2014 of the
Best of Kelowna?
Yeah, Best of
Yes.
Kelowna. So we came in silver for that every year since.
Every year, silver. Wow.
Silver.
Silver.
Right behind
Right behind who would that be?
Kelowna now.
You live at Bitter. Yeah. But you guys do some great work, and just a couple of you doing that, right? You're not a big team like Kelowna now putting
Right.
stuff out on Facebook.
Yeah,
so.
no, just the two of us.
Right. You should win like gold for best Facebook page done by just a couple people,
By volunteers,
by volunteers.
non-paid.
Yeah, or something.
We need a
We'll get,
subcategory.
maybe a new category. It's interesting though to see how big you've become. There is Old Victoria, for instance. Mm-hmm. There's more Old Kelowna followers than there are Old Victoria.
Old Victoria, yeah, and that's a really curious thing to me. They have, I think, 24,000.
Yeah.
And like we're burgeoning on 27.
Yeah.
And they're so much bigger than we are, and their page started before ours. But I think it goes to the appetite of Kelownians and those who are coming here for a history that has largely, aside from the museum, it's not that accessible, right?
Yeah.
You won't really, not very many people will go into the museum and go down to archives and sift through and find the photographs and that sort of thing. This provides a very easy avenue for people who are interested in Kelowna in general to go and find its history, history of its people.
I mean, old relatives pass on and people go through their things, and there's photographs, and they go, what a great photo, but what are they really going to do with it but put it in a box? So now it's a great chance for it to live on and be enjoyed by everybody.
Yeah, and it does, every time someone looks at it, it is enlivened. I think part of that reverence for old photographs is it's kind of a disconnect from perhaps from what's happening today. Like I think there's been a lot of change, there's been a lot of development, and there's a lot of apprehension around that. And looking at the past through Old Kelowna then provides kind of a touchstone, right, a grounding for people. You know, this is our history, and it's not only the history of, say, the 4 founding families, which is important, right? So we have all of the pictures of the pigs on Bernard, right? But also, like I put up a picture. There's a picture of my grandfather's store on Ellis, and it's just a little tiny store, and it's in there too, right? So it's not just the very prominent families, but it's also the founding families who didn't, were kind of more in the margins, so to speak.
Right.
And so it becomes then, I think, much more of a community collection rather than just of a particular kind
Right,
of
so I think there
people.
might be some people that have some photos at home that think, oh, that's not too important. That's just, Uncle Steve with his so-and-so. But if it was
Yes.
from from decades ago, you probably
We want it. Absolutely, we want it.
And so if people like what you're doing, how can they support it?
Right, so obviously go on to Facebook and like Old Kelowna, and then what happens is you can get all kinds of photographs in your feed, but you can also go through the Old Kelowna site, and as you mentioned, we have albums where these photographs are housed under kind of themes.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant about that because it's a little bit messy right now, but maybe one day.
Right. You could always sort of find new ways to organize it, but you at least do. You don't just take them and randomly put them in there. They are somewhat organized.
Yeah.
And it's fun looking through it anyway. And
yes.
Shona Harrison, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming in, telling us all about it. And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.